thing is this.
It's the hubris that is agitating us. When we're telling you what you're doing, it's wrong. You come back and tell us, I don't care about your sentiments, bruh. Kenya is mine. Kenya is not yours. Yeah. Kenya is ours.
Walita company.
You get your shareholder yao na the deputy president. Waende huko nyumbani, wafungue kampuni, as lawyers will register for them. We don't have a problem with that. But as for the country, Kenya belongs to the people.
Yeah.
I'm saying this at the expense of being followed. We've been followed even as LSK. I'm saying this at the expense of being abducted. But for my country, we bleed.
The president told us very well, and he kept reminding us, that you guys, if anything goes wrong, ask me. Musiulize hawa. And that's why we're asking him, Mr. President, things are going wrong in this country. That's why we're asking you. And I'm talking this as a person who sat with him all through. We crafted some really good things for Kenyans. And now I can see, this is not what we promised Kenyans. This is BS. This is lies. Whatever that we are now doing and kujipiga kifua that lazima tutafanya, hii Kenya lazima hatutaibadilisha hivyo.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from, and welcome to Tech for Peace Africa and Authentic Bemagoma. Tuko katika hot things. Things are happening in this country. Gen Z's on the streets. We're recording this today on a Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Now, after this recording, tunarudi pale streets. Ako ipo Nivokili here, who's quite known. You've probably seen her before. Kwa videos wakisema you should not be arresting protesters. And you've probably seen the gentleman, and they're both going to introduce themselves on the streets, protesting, exercising our very much constitutional rights, freedom of assembly, freedom of expression. But we're seeing some trouble between the police and the protesters, as well as an implementation issue. So the conversation that we're going to be having today is regarding, or rather is around, what our rights are. That's why we have the lawyer. And two, what do we want from this particular government? Lakini kwa sasa, wacha introduce kabla we delve into this. Karibuni sana, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Karibu. Now, acha tuanze pale. We introduce ourselves kwanza kabla mtueleze mbona tunakataa dialogue, and what are the implications of saying no to dialogue.
Thank you very much, Christine, for having us. Well, viewers, my name is Teresia Wavinya. They commonly call me Tess. I'm an advocate of the High Court, 7 years standing. I'm not a Gen Z, but I'm a millennial who's almost a Gen Z. Just 2 years, 2 years.
Oh, shy.
2 years shy.
Pale tulisema Gen Z is a vibe.
Thank you. So I hope you guys embrace us,
very
millennials,
much.
Because when you guys started demonstrating, I was so proud by the fact that you're not relenting. You want what you want and you go for it. And you see, when we were doing demonstrations back then, which Baba was backing, most of them were orchestrated.
Yeah. And
it was for a specific period of time. So it wasn't more on what the Mwananchi wanted, it was more of what the politicians wanted as tech.
My name is Alfa Mwaura, and I'm known as Captain. They used to call me the president, the president's young man. Then, because I supported him. I supported President Ruto.
You're part of
I supported President Ruto.
Part of the problem.
I supported President Ruto then. We had a very good plan about the young people, about everything else. What changed later on, and we started now looking back and now being the oppressors. I mean, look at the challenges that he faced himself.
What challenges are those? Is he facing challenges besides not being able to fly out of the country for a month?
I see what he did there. I see what he did there. But we can do a verse. We can rhyme to that.
You supported Ruto, right?
Yeah.
They say an apple does not fall far from the tree. He's a real protege of Moi. What did you expect? Moi has been doing anarchy. Moi has been abducting people. Moi has been assassinating his political.
Before you answer that, because we're on the conversation of dialogue, before we move to that, and that's actually coming up, Tess, Wakili, what are the risks of saying no to dialogue, democratically and understanding the constitution and the legal backing around it? Juu tumesema kama Gen Z, and we are being backed by other people, different generations. This is not just a Gen Z movement or revolution. everyone is feeling the pinch and everyone is tired in the country. But what we're saying is we are faceless, we are tribeless, and we are leaderless. What does that mean for us in the near future?
Number one, yes, we're in a democratic country, and as much as dialogue is part and forms part of the ingredients, for how long are we going to dialogue? That's the first question we need to ask ourselves. How many reports have been made for us dialoguing and they have not been implemented? We have instruments of power that dictate how a government should work. One thing we all need to understand is the sovereignty of this country, power belongs to the people. Mwananchi equals the owner of the country. We only delegate our powers to these state and public officers. And once we do that, they are supposed to work within the whim of the laws. We have the Constitution, we have the Public Officers Act, we have all these acts that establishes these offices, these parastatals, including IPOA. But are they following it to the latter? No. So when we mean you don't need dialogue, we are telling them, go back to the drawing board. Understand the instruments of power that we gave you as state officers, as public officers, and implement that. There's nowhere in our Constitution that the president is supposed to deny people a right of assembly and picketing, as long as they are not vandalizing property. We saw very well the first week of protest. There was no vandalism, there was no destruction of property, there was no theft, there was no stealing. Why? Because it was the real people who started the movement who were on the streets. The second day on Thursday, it all went well until around 5:30. I was at the Supreme Court, and we saw a different lot that came from the sides of Moi Avenue. And we're like, who the hell are these people? Are they paid goons? And we can all confirm they are paid goons, because the following week when they came back to the streets to steal, the following day on Wednesday, they went to complain that the people who hired them had not paid them. So it's not made up stories. The dialogue issue is not going to work right now. When we were doing dialogue during Baba's time and Baba's mandamandos, it was always Baba wants a piece of the government. When Baba came in Nusumkate 2017 or 2013?
It started from 2008.
2008, yes,
2013.
Yeah, 2008.
2017.
When he came 2008, when Kofi Annan came from the UN to come and dialogue and everything, he was given a prime minister position. That time we did not even have a peace constitution. We were using the 1963 constitution. And it could allow the president, because that time the president had all and had usurped all powers to do whatever he would will. That's why that position was created. But did he cater for the Mwananchi? You get? They came with the 2030 vision. We appreciate that. The ones that has been implemented through the roads, the SGR, it came from that government. So that is the only thing we got. But when it comes to corruption, when it comes to accountability, when it comes to services to the members, you go to a public office, you have to bribe to get services. Yet they're using your tax-paying money to pay this person who's still demanding bribe.
Let me just hold you on that thought, then we can go to him.
So about dialogue,
Umekata.
is no
Hata
consequences.
millennials wamesema
We just
dialogue.
want them to follow what is there in the book.
But now the question is, so I have two follow-up questions based on what you're saying. On issues to do with dialogue, we are saying no to that. And you mentioned that they were paid goons. Just recently, the president mentioned that certain individuals and organizations, and mentioned Ford Foundation specifically, are paying protesters and young people to get on the streets to be violent and to protest. I was on the streets, sikupata pesa. I don't know, you were on the streets. Ulipatiwa pesa.
Let me say this on that, and that's why I'm very passionate about this and fighting for our rights and holding the government accountable. You see, when we are trying to ask the government, come with clean hands, stop. You're putting salt into something that has already been injured when you start making some of these comments. And I'm respectfully asking the head of state, you're the father of the nation. Right now, it's not the time to stand on top of cars and address us in a certain ways or address Kenyans in certain ways. Respectively, I'm asking, you better even retract some of these people who are calling themselves your advisors, or I don't know, your close mates, are the people who are taking this government down and taking our country down. And that's why we are asking, look, we don't want to take hand stances and hardliner positions, even as young people. But listen, let's get to action. let's see all the young people, the protesters who've been abducted, released unconditionally. I mean, is that too much to ask? It's not too much to ask. Number two, let us get all these goon police officers arrested and prosecuted immediately. And you have the powers, Mr. President, to order that. These are the talks of someone has been funded or anything. My goodness, where is the money? Where is the money? I mean, I'm fighting for my country. I'm even spending my own fare, buy water, do this, you know, just to take this thing forward.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so passionate about this. So when you come and start rattling some of us in a way that you're being funded by so and so and everything else, and if you even mention names, I mean, it sits badly. And if you choose to mention names in that way, also mention these rogue police officers who killed our people. Mention them.
But he commended them. And Tess, you're a lawyer. He commended them, and then we have Kome who resigned. Are we in a position to hold them accountable right now? Because he went home, he was the top leader. Sasa Kanja ameingia. Who are we going to hold accountable when one has resigned? Because there's evidence of certain individuals in civilian clothes who are getting into police branded cars, and they are mentioned and they're said to be police that are killing people on the streets. We've seen them, the guy with the blue shirt and the hat.
Yeah.
So how can we hold them accountable if the president refuses to acknowledge that this is happening?
Number one, I will say there is no lacuna in government offices. That's why when Kome resigned, the deputy became acting.
Yeah.
When this incident happened, Kome was the IG.
Yeah.
Kome is responsible. And we have IPOA for that, the Independent Police Oversight Authority, who can act suo moto on their own motion to investigate. We don't have to go to their offices so that we make that report. They just have to see what is happening on the ground.
Yeah.
In 2007, during the post-violence election, IPOA restored favored people. In 2017, IPOA acted right. But now they're not. They're telling us, come to our offices. Yet, 2017, 2030, we did not go to their offices. They investigated. They are the ones who brought on board the issue of the baby Pendo in Kisumu. Why are they not doing that? They are failing on their job. We put them to task, they come tell us we are not well funded. Did they have to wait for us to get here so that they come and tell us we're not funded? Where were they all these years? They should have said this at that moment, so that even the same people who put them in that office can demand for them to be funded properly. But not when we need them, they fold their hands and say, we are not properly funded, please just come to our offices. You get? Are they doing the right thing? Did they go after Kwame? Did they go after all these police officers that were being paraded on all social media platforms? You can even describe that police guy who was wearing the black cape and the blue shirt. Yeah. All of us who have seen him can actually describe the amount of time he has worn that particular clothing. Are they trying to play with our minds and our intelligence and tell us they cannot get data on that police?
It's like he's so intentional to be noticed,
Exactly.
doing what he's doing,
Exactly.
knowing that he's going to get away with it.
So, IPOA should do their job. Someone call me, because he was the one who was in office at that moment. And they follow up with Bungei, who is the county commander of Nairobi, because he's the one who was giving out those instructions for the OCSs to release their police officers and do the... It's just sad.
Especially the plainclothes police officers.
Exactly.
And this brings me to another point where I want to ask the Gen Zs, fellow youth, fellow protesters from all generations, that please, we have officers who are sick in their heads. Mental health issue is a serious thing. And some of these officers, we see them do some crazy stuff even to their family members. Please, you also needed by your family members. Don't go daring some of these guys. They are sick. They are sick. You know?
Make matters worse, when they've been arrested, as LSK, we've been on the ground in all police stations to go and ensure protesters are released on free bond. The first week, all protesters were released on free bond. The second week now, after the vandalism started, it's when now they insisted they have to be taken to court. And now, that's when they are making a big mistake. They are all arresting them and putting them together with the same charge of picketing, causing
Vandalism
and
and violence.
Instead of differentiating
Yeah.
protesters
Yeah.
and people who are stealing,
Yeah.
protesters and people who are vandalizing people's
Yeah.
properties.
Yeah.
And you see, an arrested person has a right to know why you've been arrested.
Yeah.
People have been abducted. We still have missing people up to now. We're
But
getting
the
so many
president said
reports.
there's no one being abducted.
Because he lives in an oblivious world. He doesn't
Do you
live in
think he
Kenya.
doesn't really know that people are being abducted?
He knows, but he has to sanitize himself for his image out in the international world. He forgets what is happening on the ground. He's also being seen. We're not in the era. As I started by asking him, why did you vote for him? Yet he knew he's a protege of Moi. Moi will get away with all this, and the international world will not see it because we did not have social media then. Our parents were fearful.
And
But
just
now we are in an era where everything is documented. Like this live interview we're doing, it's not just Kenyans who are going to have feel and understand this.
yeah.
It's going to go out there. So even if Ruto is trying to sanitize himself with his statements and being careful, we are broadcasting it live. And I want to big up to Larry.
Yeah.
Larry Madowo is a true son of the soil. Most people are still reporting missing persons. In Githurai, we know of the massacre that happened. They
But you
switched
see
off
that's
the
a
internet.
Waliuliza, the president asked for evidence where the bodies. If you know a family member who's doing XYZ, who's missing, pale kwa round table with akina Linus Kaikai na kwa X-Space. Walisema hakuna watu.
The people who have come out.
Oh.
We have that grandmother who said
Then,
she will walk
The
herself.
president said it did not happen. And at that point, what we saw was internet shutdown. And they refused to acknowledge, Safaricom refuses to acknowledge that it was internet shutdown.
We shall not
So
forget.
where are we headed to as a country? Because at some point in Senegal, countries like Senegal, different countries during electioneering periods or heated political seasons like this one, the internet is shut down. And social media has become, as you've said, very powerful in ensuring the international community hears us, sees what is happening, and intervenes positively. Not fuels the problem,
Yeah.
but intervenes positively. So what are the dangers? What risks are we facing? Because people are still going to the protest. People are still going to the streets. Guys are angry.
That is
So
true.
how does the future look like?
One thing I want to call upon Airtel. This is the time that we need Airtel to be Airtel. Or are they called Zain still?
No, it's us.
Yeah. I want to call upon.
What's their
is
slogan?
it
By the way,
Orange? I don't
what's
know.
their slogan?
I don't even know why they
We
exist
have
if they
one
can't
who is a
even
better
tell.
option, and they should not be the best.
Yeah, like why are they just folding their arms like this? This is the opportunity they need to shine. They came into Kenya to try and compete with Safaricom. They didn't get a chance. This is the chance.
Mhm.
We also have Orange, right?
Yeah.
We have all these internet medias and houses. What are they doing? This is the time they need to come out. It's not like they've been blocked to be used here in Kenya. If a dolphins decide to eat Safaricom's wire, has it also eaten Airtel's wire? Because that's the
But
that's
they
the
proved
justification
there
they
was
gave
no
it.
wire.
No, that's the justification they told us
Yeah.
that day. Like, yo, sorry, a dolphin. Yeah, that's your problem. We don't care about you and your dolphin. But we don't just have one internet house in Kenya. There's no monopoly of who can produce the best internet. As you said, Safaricom is the better option. So who's the best?
Let me first thank Wakili here, Tess, for the good job that you guys are doing. We will disagree on some issues, and that is good, and that's why we are Kenyans, and we express ourselves. But just taking care, Amnesty International says, protect the protests. Just taking care of us and the comrades who've been arrested and making sure that, you don't need to even know the Constitution.
Yes.
You don't need to know the Constitution for you to earn your right. It is already earned,
Yeah.
Now sometimes, ukienda kwa daktari, he's trying to say, oh, these guys never even read the bill, these guys don't even understand this. Ukienda kwa daktari, you don't need to understand the health, the jargons, the medical jargons and everything else. Wewe umeenda hapo, umwelezee shida yako, akutibu na you don't need to understand that jargon.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
get it?
Yeah.
So, continue doing the good work that you're doing. We have Faith, the president of LSK, who is doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, we haven't had a vibrant LSK right good job.
Thank you very much. I forgot to say I'm also a council member at LSK.
Awesome.
I'm a general member.
Awesome.
And it's true, through the stewardship of our President Faith, as council members, we are trying our best because we've been given the tools to uphold the rule of law.
Yeah, that is
As
true.
long as you're not vandalizing,
Yeah.
as long as you're not stealing,
Yeah.
as long as you're not, as you say, taking advantage of the
Yeah.
mandamano to go and destroy property, we will be there for you. Just go assemble and protest, picket peacefully. LSK will come to your rescue. We don't have resources, but whatever we have from our pockets.
Hint to IPOA.
Kenyans will come through. Kenyans will come through. We came through for our comrades.
Yes,
we came through for our comrades.
We only use what
whatever
our
little you have.
members. Yes, we only have what our members contribute for their practice certificate, and that is only used for running the LSK matters.
Yeah.
Now, for these ones, we're getting it from our own pockets. When I've been rushing all over, you've been seeing to this police station, that police station, I use my own money.
Yeah.
When my fellow council members, Kina Gloria, Kina Steve, Madam President C, Kina Manu are going to do PIL matters, we're doing that from our own pockets because we were given the tool. And that is the same challenge you're giving IPOA, the same challenge you're giving state officers. President Dr. William Ruto, why don't you use the tool that you're given? The constitution is there. We give you the sword and we give you the constitution.
And let me say this.
Let me hold you on that one. So, on the president, some millennials, not the one seated here, Kabloni Ruke, have asked me, have told me, how do you expect the president to deliver without giving him time? They claim protests are a very expensive affair for the country, but we also understand why, because there's vandalism. Initially, it was not expensive. Gen Z and the rest walikuja na iPhones zao, wakakula KFC na wakarudi nyumbani. It wasn't really expensive, yeah. So we are blamed and we are being accused of not giving the president time to execute. The president, and this is a question I asked my previous guest, his face is not associated to truthfulness. So the slogan right now is hashtag, and the hashtag is Ruto must go. How do we get him to go? Can we sustain this fire within us until 2027? Because constitutionally, the way you remove a president is through voting him out. Do we believe that he's going to be the first one-term president this country has seen? Ama ameanza kujisafisha jina? And how do we ensure that he actually goes?
Yeah, just let me say it legally. That is true. You want us to give him time to steal more.
I was asked to give him time.
Time to borrow more debts. Time for my grandchildren, whom I don't even have children, are going to inherit those debts.
Yeah.
We're not asking him to do or perform a miracle. We are asking him, just like any household, live within your means. Stop expanding our budget for your cronies. Stop expanding your budget for your wives. Live within your means. Instead of borrowing to sustain what we have, why don't we cut cost and maintain what we need to have? We don't have the office of the cabinet. We don't have the office of the second lady, the office of the first daughter, the office, all those nonsensical this that don't exist are the ones that are bloating in our budget. And that's what we're telling him. We don't want dialogue and we're not giving you time because you know what you're supposed to do. It is mentioned about the advisors. Professor Lee, he claims to be one of the best economists. He's supposed to be telling him the trite law of finances, live within your means, not above your means. So he wants to satisfy his cronies at our own expense. So it's not a matter of we're not giving him time, we're not being patient with him. It is the hubris. Last year when the housing levy was stopped by court because it is unconstitutional. Do you remember what he said? Nitafanya, mutake, musitake. Who is he?
But right now, it's still there.
No.
But
it's the hubris. It's the hubris that is agitating us. When we're telling you what you're doing, it's wrong. You come back and tell us, I don't care about your sentiments, bruh. Kenya is mine. Kenya is not yours. Kenya is ours.
Walita company.
You get your shareholder yao na the deputy president. Waende huko nyumbani, wafungue kampuni, as lawyers will register for them. We don't have a problem with that. But as for the country, Kenya belongs to the people. I'm saying this at the expense of being followed. We've been followed even as LSK. I'm saying this at the expense of being abducted. But for my country, will we bleed? Because my grandchildren are not going to inherit a debt that I didn't even plan for it.
Yeah.
And the thing is this, that is even fueling these protests and everything else, is the arrogance, is the high-heartedness that some of these government officials and people he has assigned work to display to us. Yani wanatuonyesha hamna nguvu.
Lakini si walienda nyumbani.
Listen. That is just how many people? Are they 20 or how many?
Yeah,
we have a lot others to clean up, and we are going to push. We're going to push. We've seen Kome go. There are many others. Even in the in Parliament, we have the leadership of Kenya Kwanza, who've been very arrogant, and they speak to us, they point us and speak to us as if, you know, we are not Kenyans, and they have superior rights to us.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We had some very good plans. Tess put me to task and asked me, why did you support President Ruto then?
When you
I
knew,
am one of
and
the
she
people
was clear on
who-
when you knew he was like Moi.
I don't
This
take-
is where.
I don't take things personal.
This
Let
is
me
where
tell
it
you,
comes in.
let me tell you, we had some very good plans, and if you go through the Kenya Kwanza plan, no, not
Bilioni.
political, not being political. I am talking now about the technocrat manifesto and plans that we had.
The techno hubs that you want to install in
No,
everyone, yet you do not have
I
dispensers in
don't
everyone.
support that. By the way, I don't support that. You know what I support? And that's why the president needs to listen to people who tell him the truth and tell him what this country needs, not what he needs to hear. You see, some of these people who are surrounding the president, my goodness, they are taking him down at a very fast rate.
Forgive me,
And-
Alpha. Are you trying to justify that meme? Uhuru si mubaya, ni wale wako
Hapana,
around
no,
ndio
no, no, no.
wabaya.
Listen
So
to
now in
me,
this
listen to
context,
me.
Ruto is not bad.
No, listen to me.
Uh.
Sometimes they say the king, you define the king by the men that, you know,
Surround the king.
surround the king. And we've seen him do something that is positive, and I commend that.
What?
Which is
Fertilizer?
that?
No. Don't
Surprise
attack
us.
me.
No,
I mean,
surprise
don't attack
us.
me. Firing the cabinet was a good thing.
Pressure.
After we
Yeah,
instilled
it was pressure, and that's why we are here, and that's why
He
we're doing
initially
this.
called us treasonous
Criminals, which was wrong.
digital wankers.
Which was wrong.
So,
Listen.
Let's listen and give him a chance.
Yeah, listen. We had some really good plans. We had even a youth charter that talked about how you're going to address the youth and the unemployment issues and everything else. But once he got to power, we forgot about that. We've had a few Congress meetings, but we've never assembled young people in Kenya Kwanza just to know how you guys doing. Are we still on course? Are we, get feedback the way we used to hold the county forums and everything else? What happened to that? You're now so busy flying and you don't have time for us who gave you the job. So what are you telling me, Mr.
But he
President? Slow down.
represents even those
Slow
who
down.
did not
No,
give him the job.
Slow down.
he told us these people did not have jobs even
Before he came
president. So it's not his
yeah.
problem.
No, listen. The president told us very well, and he kept reminding us, that you guys, if anything goes wrong, ask me. Musiulize hawa. And that's why we're asking him, Mr. President, things are going wrong in this country. That's why we are asking you. And I'm talking this as a person who sat with him all through. We crafted some really good things for Kenyans, and now I can see, this is not what we promised Kenyans. This is BS. This is lies. Whatever that we are now doing and kujipiga kifua that lazima tutafanya hii Kenya lazima hatutaibadilisha hivyo. No, listen to Kenyans. We have given you that role, and it's up to 2027. The same constitution that protects me is the same constitution protecting the president. So let him not go beyond, and we will not also go beyond. And I'm saying this, we do not want our country to go the military way or go into anarchy and everything else. We know probably there have been people who have now develop interest in this protest, and now they want to propel their agenda. There are people who
And they're not within the government.
Not within government. We have even people supporting us, and they are in government. Okay, so hata hawa wamefinyika. In fact, I asked a police officer, are you rejecting? Tuko pamoja.
Yeah.
He never said we are rejecting, but I said tuko pamoja.
Because they can feel the pinch.
Yeah.
Because they can feel the pinch.
Are we
Doctors
not
at
in,
KNH.
anarchy times?
Alisema we're in anarchy.
Oh, well, and that's why I'm saying, Mr. President, please be careful about some of these utterances that are putting some of us in very awkward situations, even when we try and tell someone, you see, these protests also are not, you also need to weigh. Don't go for a protest for the sake of a protest. just know I'm going to a protest. Today it's been organized by this and this. Like yesterday we had an Uber on drivers protest. You cannot be a person who just goes to protest for the sake of protest because you have a bone to pick with the president or anything else.
No, why?
Have a purpose and it will be sustainable. Have conviction that no one told me to come for this protest. I'm doing this for my country. And you're not going to have trouble. And she's going to come through, and LSK is going to come through for you because you're genuine. But if you're coming for the protest for other funny reasons, and then when you're arrested now you want Tess to come represent you.
We will not.
We will, don't. Please don't. Because they are the people who are making some of the genuine protesters and everything be put in a bracket. And the same way we cannot say all police officers are evil, all police officers are bad, they are brothers and sisters. Some have even helped us so much. I remember on Thursday, after the Independence Day, which I call the 25th June was the Independence Day. That should be declared a national holiday. You know, for the first time, members of parliament could say, I'm not a member of parliament, you know, I'm not a member of parliament. But before ni kiburi, wakiingia mahali lazima ujue ni mbunge and everything else. But this time, tuliwa humble, you know, walijua mwenye nchi ni nani.
Now, Tess, as you wrap this up, Kenya tumesema ni kuwa itabidi tumengoja tumebaki na Ruto hadi 2027. Kama tunataka kumtoa ni pale kwa voting stage. Ama what other option do we have?
Okay, before Tess says something on that, let me say this. And I'll repeat. The same constitution that protects me, the same constitution that protects the president.
Yeah.
I will not say Ruto must go. I will say tame Mr. President.
Pilot amekosa kazi.
Tame Mr. President. I mean, just work for us. Just work for us. And we're going to support you as a president. We're going to support your government to deliver. And I don't have to be in government. I want to say this. There are some people who are close to the president who've been saying, oh, now Captain has joined Maandamano. He's not going to get a job. I don't need it. Listen, I don't need it. I can work with the UN on human rights, the Human Rights Department. I can do my own job. But I want to support my government to succeed, because if my government succeeds, the country succeeds. And especially on working for Kenyans. I mean, I'm fighting for my country. I cannot be on the side of the oppressor. Listen, I cannot. But once we shape up and you start doing whatever that we promised Kenyans, you have my utmost support in that. For my country, I'm going to do it.
So, we don't have to wait to 2027.
Yeah.
We can impeach the president through the House of Assembly. Article 144, 145, and 146 gives the reasons as to why you can impeach, or he can resign, or unfortunate upon his demise. And we want him to be able to be alive to see the Kenya that we wanted.
Yeah.
Not the Kenya that is imposing on us. JF Kennedy asked us, ask yourself not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Yeah.
So every time I usually ask myself, does the president ask himself this question? The same way the deputy president told us it's about shareholding and the hubris that the president displays when he says, mutake musitake, nitapitisha hiyo mujadala.
Yeah,
you know,
that high-hearted.
You see,
yeah.
So that hubris should just be shunned. It needs to understand we the people, the preamble. It needs to understand the sovereignty of the people. As he's saying, listen to the people on the ground. He supported him and he's disappointed. That tells you a lot.
Yeah.
It's not just us who did not support him.
Yeah.
It's even the people who campaigned for him, came up with the youth charter, and they're being left out without being heard. It's Kenan, Professor Ndi, who are busy telling us, you can do us nothing.
Yeah.
So, president can resign. A president can resign upon demise. And members of the assembly, that is MPs, can put in a motion, which should be supported by at least a quarter of the house, and then should be tabled before the house for debate. And if it moves, the president go home. Yes, now these members of parliament, and if they are wise, they should understand the temperamental of Kenyans right now. They need to understand it is no longer business as usual, where they think they are the boss. They're no longer the boss. The people of Kenya have taken back their power. There's no longer fear. That's why you saw a lady taking a microphone and going to her MP on his face and telling him, you failed us. Because as Kenyans, we finally understood it is we the people. They are not sovereign. They only work as on on our delegated powers, not on us. So the sovereign power is still ours. They only work on delegated.
Yeah.
So if they are wise enough to understand the temperamental, they need to do the right thing, to sit down. One of them can propose the impeachment due to incapacitation. We have seen why.
The right that is a dream that we hope for. It is a
and
hope
we are
of the
hoping
Kenyans.
they see it.
Now, should that not happen, we don't know the likelihood. But do you guys believe that we can sustain these conversations? Ama tutakuwa tunaenda protest weekly until 2027. What needs to be done by the people to ensure that this person actually gets out? Because we feel like we are not satisfied with his capacity to deliver, with his inability to keep promises that and mandates, hold his position, and actually deliver what he said he was going to do. So what concrete and solid action plans do we need to have in place to ensure that the solid plan ile ya 2027 constitutionally lazima anafai kutoka ama asitoke, because we can go to the ballot? What's the plan, strategy? Ni protest kila wiki.
No, here's the thing, and
Let him go first.
and it's good that we're talking about this. We cannot continuously and endlessly have just one strategy. As a chess master, I know that you change tack, because if you maintain just one way, people will get a way to counter, and they are preparing themselves to counter, not to respond to the challenges, but to counter us.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, young people, for us to sustain this, we will need, one, to educate ourselves. We will need to arm ourselves with information and take, now that we are awakened, let us not leave this to politicians or think that, these voter things and everything else is, I'm not going to register as a voter to help any politician. It's not about the politician. Politics affect almost every sector.
Yeah.
Almost
It-
everything.
It affects everything, even this water that I'm drinking. By the way, not to forget, Nairobi hatuna maji. Even this hatuna maji. Haiwak,
047.
haiwak. So, not to forget that everything else, even our security, politics affects everything. So it is high time that we invest through knowledge, information, and being very intentional about knowing what our rights are, and also beyond everything, let's also be those people who genuinely see what we are kanisa, people who are God-fearing, not church people, people who are God-fearing, that there are things that you cannot stoop to a certain level just because you are a God-fearing person.
Yeah.
That is very key to us. But to young people, for us to sustain this and continue agitating, we have social media, we have our phones. We will organize ourselves. Our grandfathers never had some of these privileged tools that we have right now. We will organize ourselves. When they say we're being funded, we know that we can organize, we can even do more. Let us avoid violence. We can get what we want without violence. And we're also calling on the police not to brutalize people, not to abduct people, not to kill people. Period. And we can differ on who we support politically, but for Kenya, we are in this. We're in this. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And to answer that, I join issues with what Alpha has said. By number one, we're in this together.
Yeah.
Irrespective of the quotas that we supported in 2022.
Yeah.
We are seated here together and we both voted different governments. And the reason why we are here together is because we want the best for the Kenya. And I put this to our president. If even the people who went on the street to support you are actually here calling you out, so you should know there's something wrong that you're doing. That's number one. Number two, yes, we need to be more innovative so that they do not penetrate what exactly is happening. As we have seen, they've been sending goons to come and penetrate into the mandamanos. As Law Society of Kenya, if you're found to be vandalizing, we're not going to come for you. We will leave you to the arms of the police.
Yeah.
Yes, we're not going to come and say release them. And that's why we requested the police officers, when you're arresting everybody, make sure you differentiate the charges. The one for protest and the one for vandalism and theft. Number three, for us to sustain this, yes, we need to change tax and strategy. But at the same time, as you have said, we need to elucidate our knowledge. Let us go out there and understand the constitution better. Understand your right as a Kenyan. Understand that you can actually pick it every day as long as you're doing it peacefully. And while you're doing it, don't provoke the police officers as well. You see, remember, there's this guy who we see dancing, That guy is my hero. He did not provoke. He was having a good time. There was also that other lady who was also winding her waist.
A lady who is very popular in a jumpsuit.
Because the police are also your friends. They're also our families. They're also part of us. And they're feeling the pain because they're the ones who have been sent to Haiti. Despite having a court order, do not send them. What business do we have sending people who are for internal affairs to another country? We are NATO allies. As he went there at the White House, he sat in Biden's chair, we were made NATO allies. It's okay, but was the benefit to massacre our sons, the police? No. Why is it that the US are not sending their own police to Haiti? These are the questions that the president needs to ask himself. Is it about the gain that he's getting or the gain that the country is getting?
On the Africa agenda, he can do really well. And we're inspiring Africa as Kenyans, actually. We're inspiring Africa. We already talking to our peers. Last week we had a Pan-African Youth Convention, which cut across so many themes. But one thing that these young people from other countries said is that we've inspired them. And we can see even on the internet that we've inspired Africa. So on Africa, let's hapo tuko pamoja. Ikifika ni Western.
Please, because now you see the conditions of being a NATO ally. They also want to bring the American soldiers to come and train here in Kenya at a fee. It's okay. But remember, we already have the British soldiers who train in Nanyuki. You've heard of the deeds that they do to our women. Have they been held accountable?
No.
Why are we still enabling such? Why are we still sitting on the seat with colonizers? As
and number two, why are we picking so many enemies? We already have it.
Sorry? What is the name of this South African EFCC leader? Malema asks, why are we enabling the colonizer, as he calls them, out? Now we are here saying, do this, Mr. President. Instead, at first he did not act right. He called us names. Then he went back, he realized, okay, this thing is real actually. We have made him stay in Kenya for a whole month since President was elected.
Then you want to be a pilot.
When was the last time you saw him in Kenya for more than 2 weeks? It's like he lives outside there.
And vacations
in Kenya. But now we elected you for us, not for the international world. And we understand you need to form allies. We understand you need to go and create economical plans for us.
We need to feel it.
These jobs that you are creating for us out there, why can't we make Kenya? Because as it is right now, as he's saying, Africa is in Kenya. It's not the other way around. And if we improve our economical stats, these foreign investors will come and invest. We'll create more jobs for our youths.
But he's kicked them out.
And we are innovative enough.
And the more
already, they had a whistle blower.
Exactly. The more you hike the taxes, the more they will go. They are trying to sanitize themselves and saying, you see, we are trying to ensure that sanitary pads can also be produced locally. We don't have a local produced pad. Do you know of any?
No.
Exactly. So you want to kick out whatever we use, and then you start saying we will build, and then what are we going to be using then? Are you going to take us to the back days of using cotton wool? He's killing the country. We don't have a dispute as Kenyans. Personally, let me speak as a Kenyan now. We don't have a dispute paying taxes like the Scandinavian countries as long as we see the goods of that taxes. But I'm not going to pay taxes at the expense of enriching these politicians, making them being able to fly with helicopters at the expense of health being slashed, at the expense of no more good quality education, at the expense of, instead of having well-trained police officers, we just bring anything that can exist and can hold a room.
And when we
at the expense of not paying doctors at the hospitals and claiming you guys your demands are expensive, but the pharmacy can be roaming around. We want to pay taxes to enrich me. What he's saying, we don't have water in Nairobi, and it is true. What is Sakaja doing?
That's basic. That's a
basic need.
That's a basic
as per
need.
Article 43, the social economic rights.
But that's not a Nairobi issue. Even in Mombasa, they had an issue.
And President Ruto, when he was campaigning, he actually campaigned on the armpits of Article 43, social economic rights. I will make sure you have this, you have this, you have this. But what did he do? He took them away from us. We have to buy water. We have to buy electricity. We have to bring up solar so that we reduce our living expenses.
Water is really
Mr.
important.
President. Oh, Dr. President. Sorry, I forgot your accolade as a doctor. Dr. President Ruto. As you go sleep today, I put it to you again. Go ask yourself, what can you do for this country? Not what this country is giving you, your daughter Charlene, and the other daughters that you are appointing every day. What about me? What about Alpha? What about her? What about the Kenyans that supported you knowing Mama Mboga lifestyle is going to be elevated? You gave us wheelbarrows. Why are you trying to tell us you're going to be poor during campaign time?
You just didn't get it.
You see? So, stop with the dialogue. Tutatenga, tutafanya. Start tumefanya. Priorities is blotting in and opening more offices instead of giving services to the Mwananchi. But we can't make up this joke.
Yeah.
We're tired. Do the right thing. Use the instruments. We don't need dialogue. Thank you.
Okay, you have heard it from them. My mandate here is to remain neutral. Ndo msikuje mkasema sisi wote tuliruka.
Ulikuwa neutral.
Alpha. Oh my God.
You are neutral.
I believe if there were other people in here, wangesema have been the most neutral host ever.
But we are in this together. We are in this together. We are in this as and let us not get caught up in this divide and rule, because we are gonna use that against us. And then we are going to be pointed against each other. So Alpha, alikuwa Kenya Kwanza, do this, attack him here on social media. I mean, let's stick together. And the most important thing, your conviction. Why are you doing this? Your conscience. How is your conscience? So let no one try and think that we're doing this short term. We're in this together for Kenya. For Kenya, we don't want to ban the country. We don't have anything personal towards anyone. But we need the Kenya we want. The Africa we want. That is what we are doing right now.
And Chris, it is something I forgot to mention. As it is right now, the IBC is not fully constituted. So even if they impeach the president, the next person in power will take over, will be the deputy president. But he can only do that for a minimum of 90 days. Then after that, we'll have a lacuna in the constitution. And they decided to go ahead and sign that IBC bill. It has been staying in his office for the past 2 years. And let us keep on pushing, because when Baba pushed in 2022, he did not flinch. When they pushed last year for IBC to be signed and ascended as an act, I still did not push. But when the young people, the owners of this country went there without a leader, because we are speaking for ourselves, he finally ascended to that act. And the next course of action is to constitute it fully. We do not have a chairperson. As we know, Chebukati's tenure expired. We do not have 2 commissioners. As we know, they also resigned. So when that is fully constituted, and the wise, like-minded members of parliament decide to do the Lord's job, it can happen. Or if the president, in his wisdom, can see, okay, I've done enough for Kenyans. Let me resign.
Enough?
Let me resign. Yes, because Bri has taken us through a lot. Since KK's time, when he was a student. When he says, I've done enough for Kenyans, let me resign honorably. And our fellow youths, do not vandalize property. Do not steal. Just do what you're supposed to do. And don't be violent. Peacefully. From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go home.
Tell them.
Because at dark, when this police will abduct you, no one will come for you.
No one will come for you.
They will say that you were loitering.
And your family needs you.
Yeah.
Kenya needs
you.
We need you.
We need you. We need you,
And you see, when we are all of us, they cannot come and take all of us. But when you're alone at night,
becomes very difficult.
Exactly.
Thank you guys for coming. I know we cannot fully exhaust this conversation.
So the last one. There is a constitution, there is the law, and there is common sense. Please, guys. Also, you
use
know,
the last one.
wait. You don't. There is common sense.
I totally agree with that. Msisahau kutumia common sense mkiwa kwa streets. I look forward to having you guys again. This has been very fire. I enjoyed listening to both of you and engaging and trying my level best to be neutral.
For Kenya.
Because not everyone is going to agree with what we have to say. But the one thing we truly agree is that we need leaders who are accountable, and we are the people to hold them accountable. Asanteni sana, guys. Please do like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment down below. What do you agree with? What don't you agree with? And what would you propose as a better solution to what you might disagree with? Asanteni sana. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.